Hey, everybody. Sorry. Hey, everybody. I'm Captain Tommy Scoble, and you're on the lifeboat. Susie Q, good to see you. Sugar Plum, Mischief Managed, Jen Marie, my other's keeper, good to see you. Tommy Bird, really early. Tommy Bird, good to see you. Moni, happy that you're here. Unpredictable Tony, how are you? Charlie Mullins, Jen Marie, good morning. Hello, Ella. Mara, hippie chick, the gang is all here. Mara, hello. Do you know what today is, people? You know what today is, Johnny Scoble? It's Friday. This is it's the end of yet another week, right? We put another one in the books, which is a good thing, right? It's always nice. There she is. You're late. Oh, and needy. Nothing worse than a late and needy kitty. She's did not get enough love and affection last night. See, it was cold, and she decided to do the sleep at the bottom of the bed by the feet thing, and that always leaves the poor kitty starved for attention. Good to see you, Kath. Glad that you're here. Tracy, how are you? Nicola, good to see you. Bliss and Zoe. Azerwen. Oh, can you hear that cat purring? Listen to that. Happiness is a purring kitty. Yeah, oh, I love that noise. I'm sorry. All right, let's get to work. So it is Friday, people. And of course, that means we've gotten through another one. It means the weekend is coming. Also, a little bit of threat. For some of us, the weekends get a little tougher because, let's be honest, most people start to let their hair down a little bit. The paychecks come. People do stupid things. We do get together on the weekends here, so you can always come and lean on one another. We're going to try to keep doing what we're doing, right? Try to live our best life. Yeah. So, I got a lot of emails from you all yesterday, and I got messages and such, and I got a lot of positive feedback on the show that I did with Reese yesterday. I wasn't trying to bum people out with yesterday's show, but I also don't want to. It's very easy to let things happen to you and not tell anybody about it. People that you care about. I mean, I'm obviously my family, but my extended family, right, of the lifeboat. It's sometimes easy not to tell people things, and you go, you know what? I mean, it's probably part of what's going on with my head, and it's part of this. But if I do that, and then it kind of progresses and starts getting worse, then the day might come where I go, hey, guess what? I'm gone on Friday. I wish you all the best of luck, and we're going to be. And I don't want that to ever be the case. So while I still got a lot of snap left, I am going to to be working on a sort of a transition, right? So that we get an idea of what's happening, and I can be a part of it. Wouldn't that be a whole lot better? If I waited until the point where we had to make changes and I couldn't be a part of that, that would suck. So I'm making good decisions. But all of you that are ready to buy a plot for me, I wouldn't necessarily do that just yet. Right? No reason to hang crepe. It's disturbing when the things that happen to you are brain related because we don't understand them. If your leg's broken, you can go, yeah, that sucks. Look at that thing, it's broken. Or if they tell you that your heart's not working right or whatever. But when it's a brain thing, it's kind of that gray area. However, I really do believe in this whole family thing, right? I'm not just pitching that. That's just something that we say because it makes the subscribers feel good, right? We really do kind of have a family kind of a thing going on here. And for that reason, I think it's I do share a great deal of what goes on, and I certainly don't share all of it. I got a lot of emails from you people that said, you don't need to share your entire medical file. Trust and friggin' believe I have not shared my entire medical file, right? But I'm sharing what I think the boat needs to be aware of because this friggin' thing is bigger than me. My bed isn't made. Kind of hard to make with a fat dude like me still laying in it. Well, therein lies the problem, Tommy Bird. You know, that's the problem. However, I will have you know that it can be done. You know what? Everybody needs a Good Friday laugh, right? I'm going to tell you a great set of stories. This is a Good Friday laugh. You're all going to get a kick out of this one. This is a story too. 2004, right around 2004. I got, you know what? You should be able to shout that out to everybody, Jen Marie. Huge shout out to all who helped me through yesterday. I adore you all. How cool is that, huh? Huh? How cool is that? Sometimes the bed is so comfy it's hard to get out of. This morning was one of these mornings. You know, if you did not have to tell me who wrote that. If I didn't see the Spanky Calhoun avatar next to that, I probably would have guessed that was my son anyway. He's always been a pretty big fan of knowing when that bed felt good and not wanting to get out of it, and been very vocal about it since he was about 2. I would not ever dare wake this woman up ever. Well, Monk, you're lucky. You really are. You're lucky, Monk. It's nice to have someone there to not wake up, isn't it? You're a blessed man. I love it. And Moni calls Spanky on it. Hear that? Spanks, get out of bed. You've been called out. Atypical Paul says, hello. YouTube never sends notifications. I'll tell you something else. They have unsubscribed a pile of you. A pile of you. No joke. I just keep hearing it, and I'm so sorry. There's nothing I can do. Trust me, people, when I tell you, if there was a way I could do something to ensure that you could not unsubscribe, well, I would do that to everyone. I would get people to come by and go, hey, check it out real quick, can you? You're not going anywhere. But unfortunately, I can't do that. Well, that's what a good marriage is it not? Tommy Bird says, I'm blessed by my wife too, as well as frightened. Yeah, no, that's what a good marriage is, to be sure. Okay, so we're going back to 2004. And I found myself incarcerated for stealing stuff. I got caught doing not bank robbery kind of stuff. It was actually a lot of money, but I stole it in $2,000 or $3,000 dollar increments. I had been doing damage at hardware stores for a while, but I got arrested and I got sent off to prison. And there was a gentleman in prison that they call Woody, which is not a shocker because about 80% of all white guys in prison are nicknamed Wood, Woody, Woods, Woodpecker, some version of the, that or Ghost. A lot of ghosts, a lot of Caspers, but yeah, Woody was about 5'8" and maybe 260, and did not have a great deal of body fat on him. This was a guy that looked like he could bench press a Chevrolet. You know what I mean? Kind of just had that neck that started at the ears that went all the way down to the shoulders. But he and I had a fantastic relationship, right? We had a clowning back and forth relationship from the very first time I met the dude. We just started clowning on each other. And this was in the days when you could smoke cigarettes in prison. And when he first came in, he went, dude, I don't have any money. I said, wow, life sucks. He goes, no, it's getting sent here because I came from another prison. He's like, but I don't have anything on me, man. I need someone to trust me because I got nothing. I'm like, what do you need? I can help you out. And at the time I was running a sports book. He gives me a list. I'm not kidding you this long. I could use 2 bags of 4 Aces tobacco. Can I get 3 bags of Keefy coffee? Like, this dude didn't say, hey man, you got some shower slides. This dude gave me a $300 store list. So, I said, yeah, I'll hook you up, man. I got everything in there. I gave it all to him and paid me back on store day. And when he did, he brought a 1 battery radio that they had just put on the store, and they were like $50. They were really, really sought after at the time, and threw it on my bed. And I said, what is that? And he goes, that's you, dog. He said, you didn't know me. He said, I gave you a hell of a list. He goes, to be honest with you, I figured you were going to say, man, I can't give you this. And then I was going to say, how about just the coffee? He said, the fact that you did all of that, he goes, yeah, man, that's on me. So we became really close friends. Sadly, he had a real penchant for practical jokes, right? And the practical jokes between myself and Woody got wildly out of control, right? But one of the things that it started with was my bed was one of the only beds in the prison that you could actually stand on both sides of. It was not butt up against a wall, which is very rare in prison. But I lived in a cell that used to be part of the whole. So technically I was in a suicide cell. So my bed was in the middle of the cell, and you could actually walk like 360 degrees around it. It was a very cool cell to have. However, I also, my door didn't lock because I was in the preferred housing section and I was the top of the food chain. I was considered the best inmate in the world. I was one of 6 counselors in a program to help other inmates. Our cells weren't locked. Now, we didn't abuse it. We were allowed to go out and not leave our doorway. So 6 cells were closed off from everything else because it used to be the suicide cells and the you're in deep trouble cells back in the 60s. Instead, it was turned into the penthouse for the guys that were really good inmates. And in the middle of that little hallway, we had a table. So while the poor folk were in there sleeping, we could be playing poker at 3 o'clock in the morning and doing whatever we want because that's what we earned, right? Woody lived on the other side in the cheap rent, but I was laying in bed one morning sleeping, and he came in with a couple of friends, and they made me into the bed. And I mean, like quick as hell, came in and pulled sheet blankets down over the top of it. And these are those like green blankets that they make in the military. Well, he tied me into the bed. So literally, now you know how I feel about the whole claustrophobia thing, right? This is the exact same thing. If you're claustrophobic and somebody binds you to where you can't move at all, it's just like being in a very small place. And I was losing it, man. Like I really was having a bad time. And, you know, in prison, guys will take pity on you when things like that happen. There's not much pity. Everybody ran out. Yeah, exactly. Everybody got a good laugh and then left for lunch. And and a friend of mine who I've talked about on the show before, I had a friend in prison they called Gay Jason, because in prison, if you're gay, man, they're gonna tell you. And he came in the front door and said, "I'm gay. I like guys. You're gonna hear about that because everyone on the street knows me. I don't do anything inside. You got nothing to worry about, but you're gonna hear it." So, and he's a great dude, really good friend of mine. But he came in and I was like, "Gay Jason, bro, you gotta cut this stuff off. Get me out of here. Untie this or whatever." And he goes, "I don't know, Rock." He's like, "What are the odds this ever happens again?" I said, "Dude, don't play games with me, Jason, please." So Jason cut me out of the situation that I was in, which I appreciated. But this started a battle that would go on for 12 months, right? I went into we were allowed to play records, vinyl, and we were allowed to play it for people in the the purple shirted guys, the guys that had the juice. We had one cell that had nothing in it but storage, and in there were records and all kinds of stuff. But I took a record and I removed the album out of it. In the old days, we used to fill those with shaving cream, and you would put it under the front of someone's door in college and jump on it, and shaving cream would go over everything in the. Well, I couldn't get shaving cream in prison. This was not an option. What I could get was baby powder. So, oh man. So I took this album and I puffed the thing out as wide as I could. And I dumped an entire thing of baby powder in it until it was puffed out like this. And I put it underneath the door and I jumped on it, right? It's sprayed all over. And I'm waiting for him to wake up and scream. It's the middle of the night. I can walk around in the middle of the night. I can go to his cell. He can't do a thing. Nothing, right? He's still sleeping. I'm like, that didn't do squat. So I look and there's a bunch of it still inside. So I went and got a fan and an extension cord, one of the little bed fans that are about this big. And I sat for 15 minutes and just blew shaving cream under this dude's door, right? And got caught. I mean, the cops came down and went, he goes, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, shh, like explained it to him. The cop laughed, I mean, hysterically. But when I got up in the morning, now this is a dude who could tear me in half, right? I mean, I'm a lot taller than he is, but I'm pretty sure he could remove my head like a bottle cap. He's just yoked up. And so when I saw him at breakfast, I go, "Hey, Woody, what's going on this morning?" He goes, "Hey, not much. You're not going to believe this." I said, "What?" He goes, "I got up to take a leak at about 4 a.m. He said, and every single thing in my cell was covered in a white powder. It looked like it had been snowing. I said, damn, that's awful. He goes, yeah. How about that? I said, what are you going to do about it? He goes, well, I cleaned it. I said, good. He goes, yeah, complete it. Got it completely cleaned. I said, well, that's good. He goes, no. When I came back, it had all settled and I could still write my name in everything in the room. Well, for a solid week, every single, 20 minutes, everything would settle again and you would have a film on this guy's stuff. So the next salvo in this, he said to me, look, can this be done? Right? We were doing back and forth. Are we done? I said, I'm done, dude. He said, good, man. Let's grow up. I said, all right. And I come home and the dude is in my bed, right? I come home and he's under the covers in my bed watching my television set. And I walked in, I go, what are you doing, dude? And he goes, the TV in my cell is black and white. He's like, I couldn't afford the good one, bro. I'm like, so you just decided you'd come in here and get in bed and watch TV? He's like, what's the big deal, bro? We're homeboys. I was like, yeah, man, get out of my rack. So he whips the covers back and he's bare ass naked, right? Gets up and walks out of my cell. Yeah, exactly, right? I'm just disgusted. Now I got to take all of my stuff and wash it. I can't get in that bed, right? I'm literally disgusted. Forever, people. I'm not joking. This goes back and forth and back and forth. I don't remember what the next thing I did, but he went to the barber shop and got hair, right, from the barber shop and put it on the plastic mattress that we sleep on and then put my sheets on top of it, right? You talk about a vicious prank. You don't get in there and go, hey, somebody put hair underneath my, it's not like that at all. You get in there and you go, no, and you get up and it took a day. Like the following day, he's looking, waiting for the laugh. And he's like, hey, man, you sleep all right? I'm like, no, I didn't. Terrible night's sleep. What the hell's going on, man? I was so uncomfortable. The man literally put hair all over the entire inside of my bed, which if you think about it, is pretty darn nasty, right? The next thing that I did, I don't know if I can say this, and I don't know how I could word this one. It's a Rutland big time. Yeah, I can't. Now, the pranks continued to go, right? There was some hot sauce involved in one of the pranks, just a lot of bad stuff. But what he did to me was so foul that he bought a color television set. His upgrade was a television set, right? He got a color one. Well, I was running a sports book and was basically at this point the biggest pimp in the entire prison. So I bought a remote control. Now, you can't have a remote control. You have this little device that you make. It's got a stick on it, or you got a string that you pull up and back. But I had a remote control, and I paid a fortune for it. They accidentally shipped one, and the guy that worked down at the a commissary said, hey, man, I got a remote. I want $150 for it. I was like, I'll take it. Right. So I had a remote control, and you don't tell people because the haters will drop a kite and tell someone that you got it so that it'll get taken away. But I had a remote. Well, from where I was, catty corner across the hall was Woody's cell. So I would at night I would get up and point the remote, and I would turn off his television set. And you'd hear him like, what the hell? And then he'd turn it back on, right? And I'd wait 5-6 minutes, and then I would do it again. And he's yelling F-bombs at the top of his lungs, right? And turning it back on. And I did this, 5 or 6 times a night. And then I started I would just turn the channel up or the channel down, or I would randomly, he'd be on channel 26 and I would just hit 04 and randomly take him to the worst channels. I would put him on PBS. But I did this for so long. And then one day I come back from lunch and he's going the other way, passing me on the path. And he's got a cart and he's pushing a cardboard box. So I got back to the unit and I'm in my cell. I'm under the covers. I'm watching TV. It's like 7 o'clock at night. And he comes in and he goes, hey, is it cool if I just watch TV in here with you? I said, yeah, why not, man? What's up? He goes, I sent my TV back. I was like, no way. What happened to your TV? He's like, bro, those things suck. He's like, it'll start turning itself on and off. He goes, the channel would just start going. I'm like, man, that sucks. Now I'm just under a sheet, right? So I got the remote control in my hand under the sheet, and I just popped the TV off. And I go, oh no. And he goes, that's how it started, bro. Just like that. That's how it started. And he leans forward to turn my TV back on, and I turned it on. And he looks back and he goes, mine never turned on again. And I put the remote up and I changed the channel. And he looked at me and he goes, were you turning my TV off with that remote? I go, I was, right? And he goes, touche. Like, dude, you have any idea? Like, I'm out of a TV for 16 weeks, like nothing like that. He just looked at me and went, touche. Like, well played. Then we swore on a stack of Bibles, literally put our hands up, swore in God's name, all that we were not going to do anything to each other again. He broke that. So Woody, if you're out there, if you ever happen to come across this, Woody, you need to reach out to me. The final thing that he did, and I'm gonna tell this, and I'll church this up the best I can so that it doesn't sound bad. But this was a state prison. This was not a federal prison, and it was a level 2 yard, right? This was not a dangerous prison in the state. I went to Prisonyland. Like, this was a soft prison, and there were no rats on the yard, nothing like that, but they had no problem whatsoever with guys that were gay being there. There was not a lot of friction between the races, blacks and whites. I mean, you couldn't, all the stupid rules, you couldn't smoke after each other, but you could sit down at a table and hang out and, or play cards or whatever. The rules were way different. But when it came time for me to leave prison, they check you out. On the last night you're there, they beat the crap out of you, right? This is standard operating procedure. The fellas come in, and the idea is they check you out so that you never want to come back. They make it so uncomfortable that you're never coming back to prison. This is the concept. So before it happened, the fellas all got together and said, listen, man, we're not doing this to you. Straight up, right? And I've seen this done before. You're a solid wood, you're one of the guys. We ain't coming in and beating on you, dude. We love you. We're not doing that crap. I said, swear to me. I swear to you. So instead we had a party. And this was at a time in my life where I wasn't clean and sober or anything else. So there was drugs and homemade wine and all that crap. But it was all nice. Everything was good. And at 9:30, right, they locked down the prison. I stayed up until probably 11 with the fellas, including Jeffrey Canali, who you see in the comment section from time to time. He was there, and we played some cards. And then I went in and I laid down to go to sleep. And the cops opened the cells of about 6 dudes, right? Because again, the only people that can get out at night are in the VIP section, right, where the mentors were. So he lets a bunch of guys out, including Woody. And these dudes come in, and I'm like this, man. I'm just comfortably in there having a good time, dreaming of freedom. And they came in and pulled the blanket down over me. And I'm talking about a grip of 200, and 50-pound guys. I'm not moving, right? I am. And I just started in. I said, you lousy, lying, no good. And Woody's right at the foot of the bed going, Rocco, we didn't say, but we were not going to hurt you. We said, we're not checking you out. And I said, dude, he goes, no one's hurting you. And they put a boom box on, right? And a guy in there that they called Lady Guy, right? His name was Guy, but they called him Lady Guyana. And he was fond of dressing like a lady. That was his get down. But he came in for what was to be a lap dance. And all in good fun. I was not particularly amused by this at the time. Needless to say, everybody else around was. However, this went on and he was not, on me or grinding on me, but was very close to me, uncomfortably close to me. And to the point where I was getting a little bummed out. And then this gentleman, and we're an adult channel, there are no kids here. This gentleman kind of reached into his pants because he had been looking rather blessed, so to speak, and then pulled a banana out and threw it on the bed to where everybody laughed hysterically because it didn't look like he was getting ready to pull out a banana. And everyone, laughed hysterically and then ran like hell out of the room because they were afraid that I was going to get to the first person that I could get to. And the only person that I could get to was Canale, because he was the one that stayed in my section. Everybody else got locked down. And to this day, I mean, Jeffrey and I have seen each other on the streets. I love him. He's a very close friend of mine. And I've not quite gotten over the fact that he was in on that. It's a fairly cruel thing to do. And then the lowlife, about 2 hours later, comes in and attacks me in the middle of the night while I'm sleeping to try to get me to tap out so that he could win the heavyweight jiu-jitsu belt that we had been fighting for 3 years back and forth with, or a year and a half, a 3-year sentence, year and a half, 3-year sentence. I did not tap out. And the elbow surgery that I'm always talking about needing was because of that. Yeah, Jeffrey Canale did that to me, that low life. So when you see him in the comment section, you can tell him what a rotten person he is. Jen Marie says, as I'm eating a banana. Yeah, it was honestly, like, hindsight being 2020, really, really funny. And the cop, I said to the cop, you let these guys out of their cell for this, man? Like, how is that even? And he said to me, he goes, look, bro, he goes, we hate the fact that they beat people up on the way out the doors. It gets cops in trouble, right? They ended up having an investigation because one dude, they basically tortured. Like, the guy wasn't killed, but they did a lot of really messed up stuff to this dude with rubber bands. And on the way out, he went and complained about it. I told the authorities, and they actually came in with the feds and investigated it because it was what they called the WINGS program, which was Willing Inmates Nationally Gaining Sobriety. WINGS was a very cool program. That event got WINGS shut down in the state, for real. So they were getting kind of serious about checkouts. They didn't want people getting beat up. So the cop was like, hey, man, I was just happy that they weren't beating anybody up. And that's the guy. I've told the story before. This is the dude. So Lady Guy was flamboyant. Like, he was as over the top with his, hello, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Just effeminate to almost like a caricature, like you see in films where they really play the part up of the, kind of woo, feminine kind of thing. Well, that's how he was for his entire prison sentence. He dressed like a woman for the entire time. He was very, very effeminate. And I'm walking across a parking lot at a Walmart. I was with Jack, and I ran into him, right, coming the other way, not looking like we called him Lady Guy. Now I'm looking at him, and he's got on a leather coat, and he's walking with someone that had to be his grandmother, or great aunt, but a much older woman that he was definitely related to. And he made eye contact with me, and there was this instant moment of panic. You know what I mean? I saw it instantly in his eyes. Oh my God, this dude could say something. I mean, it was instant. I felt so bad for him because whatever life he was living on the inside is probably who he is. And on the outside, he has to be somebody completely different because he was so terrified. And I walked up and went, Guy, how are you? But he put his hand out. I gave him the big dude handshake. I said, long time no see. And the grandmother was like, oh, is this a friend of yours? And he said, I knew him from inside, when I was incarcerated. And I said, yeah. He's a great guy. Knew him real well. But I know I made his day because he was terrified. And I know the feeling. I don't know if you've ever done time, but if you're somewhere and you run into somebody that you know from prison and you just think to yourself, you know what? It's sad, right? But I don't want to be embarrassed by my past. And sometimes you will be. And, just not that there's any, not that there's a story from prison or anything else. It's just that there's an eye contact and you look at it is weird, isn't it, Tommy? I don't know how to describe it, but there's a thing when you run into people from the inside. So often they won't even say, hey man, I know you from where. Like, you'll see somebody somewhere and you'll go, you give them the nod, like, and here's a big mistake. I feel horrible. I was doing a live the other day, and there was somebody in the live that said, hey, man, do you remember the shipyard? And I said, yeah, I remember being at the shipyard. And he was like, because I used to be out there, and said, my name's Mello. When you're doing a live chat and things are going, and now that we've had this talk about yesterday, I'm having some problems with memory anyway, right? I have some memory issues that are becoming a bigger part of my life. And the name, I kept talking to Johnny, and the name kept, earworming it, brainworming it bad. And I know everyone's going, well, everybody does that, but I never did that. And I was the dude that always knew who everybody was. I never forgot anything. But I remember Mello. Like now I totally remember Mello. So, man, if you happen to catch another one, Mello, I do remember exactly who you are. In fact, I remember a really funny story, but I won't tell it unless he's here. But I got a good Mello story. I do remember working with him. He's really a good dude. There were some great people at that place that I worked. In fact, I told the story. There was no lifeboat at the time, but I told the story on Chase the Heat at the time. My hands got this big, right? Got this big because I have a problem. It's like I don't know what the hell you call it. It's like basically it's like arthritis, but I was using sandblasters and doing things. And when I sandblasted for 11 hours straight, 3 days in a row, you can see it. If you go over to Instagram, you can see the pictures of it. But my hands would look like catcher's mitts. They would just get so big. And there was a boss there that didn't like me much. And the guy was trying to get me to quit. I mean, literally that's what was happening. He wanted me to quit and it wasn't going to happen. I only had a couple of weeks left and he wanted to bring someone else in to train them but I understand. And they asked me, would you be willing to leave? We'd like to get someone else in to train you. And I'm like, no, I need this money. And I'm trying to get on my feet, man. And they were like, oh, okay. And then they did everything within their power to get me to quit. And they just gave me the crappiest jobs in the world. And I'm a convict and I'm kind of flying to the radar. And so I just did everything they asked me to do. And one day, man, I said to my brother the night before, man, I'm like, this dude puts me on anything that's a hand thing, I'm gone. Like I'm going to quit. And it was a bummer because I quit everything I've ever done my whole life. Up to that point, I had never stuck anything out. I was always the guy that called in sick. I was always the guy that was just a piece of crap as far as employees go. And I didn't want to quit this job. And there was just this day and they were giving out all the assignments and they're like, and we needed to do sandblasting inside the hull. So that crap you see me crawling through in there, same thing, but going in there with a sandblaster and a hood on and all of that and thank God, that day I did not have to do that. I have done it. It's the worst job in the world. But he comes up and he's like, Tommy, you're going in. And I was like, all right, man. Now, if you got a juice card, you can say to a guy, I don't want to do this, man. Put somebody else on it and request a better gig. I got no juice card, none whatsoever. And a dude that was working there said, hey, man, I wanted to do that job. Let Tommy can do my painting, which is like the easiest thing in the world on my hands. He's like, he can do the painting. I wanted to go in there and do that. And the boss just looked at him like he was insane. He's like, you want to crawl in there to do that? He's like, yeah, I'm going to go in there and do some sandblasting in there. And he's like, all right, man, if it makes you happy. And when the dude was walking away, man, I went up. I was like, I don't know how to thank you, man. I really don't, right? And he's like, no, it's all good, Tommy. And I want to tell you something. Nobody on planet Earth knew I was Tommy, right? Nobody there. I was not Tommy for the world. I had just gotten out of prison. I wasn't telling anybody anything, right? I mean, no one even knew what my other name was. I was rocking nothing else. So the dude obviously watched Chase the Heat, right? The dude obviously watched all of that crap. And he's like, no, it's all good, Scoville. I got you. And I was like, oh, man. That was one of the coolest things ever. Literally brought me to tears. Just a solid dude, man. And a guy I'd never even had a conversation with. He was just Scoville squad. You know what I mean? I was like, that is so damn cool. And it got me through. I actually got through that entire gig. I did. I got through that entire gig. They came up and said to me, you know what, man? They let me go. I was like, I'm sorry, what? He's like, yeah, you can. I said, okay, all good. All good. What is this live about? It's about 35 minutes so far, Eddie. We're just hanging out. To be really honest with you. We're just hanging out. Been a rugged couple of days. And I don't know. I wasn't there are days that Josie's on a vacation. Far away. Kristen, how are you today? Yeah, we've kind of slipped into the world of Tommy telling stories. It's you know what I think? It's just probably this is probably part of my thing, you know. But I think that good God in heaven, Lisa Trimble, that is a mistake. I love you. That is a mistake. I really do. Um, Tommy, you and the crew are the best. Here, I feel courage, love, and support. I feel feelings I don't want to feel, but need to and learn. I got a gift today, and I want to share and help as many as you can. Good God, Lisa. Wow, that's that's incredible. Thank you so much. The wow, I'm wow, um, wow. Uh, you are an incredibly kind and generous person. And you know what? For some perspective, because this is just such a great time for perspective. I don't if you give 99 cents, I'm blown away. If your gift is the fact that you come here and you give a view and you talk, if you come here and all you do is lurk, right? But you're listening, all of those are the most incredible gifts in the world that we expect nothing from anybody. But when someone does something like that gift, I can tell you, I can literally tell you what that will do because the dollar amount is such an easy one to work with. I can tell you exactly what that will do. That will take one individual, right? From start to finish, that will take one individual that says, I really want to do this. Like I'm ready to go. And it usually goes something like this. It's people that we talk to on the phone and they say, I swear to God, Captain Tommy, that the next check or the next one, and it's never their check because normally people in that condition can't work. But they'll say when my significant other or when my mom gets her next check or whatever it is, I promise you when that next check comes, we're doing this. And I promise you they won't. Because the window of opportunity for somebody that is ready to actually, you know, when the next batch gets in there, right, the opiate gets in the brain and goes, hey, knock it off with that crap, you know, quitting crap. You know who your friend is, right? We're good, right? And you go, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking, right? As soon as the dope's back in there. But with about 358 bucks ish, right? And a little bit different in some states, but right in that ballpark, we can say as the boat, no, you're going to do that today. And it's just it's one of the greatest feelings, right? And it always is just the sound of the people who go, what do you no, you don't understand, they get, and you go, no, you don't understand. Right now we're going to do a three-way call. I'm going to get you into this, and when they say yes, you're here, I'm going to bail off, right? I don't stick around for the HIPAA stuff. That's just not cool. But we get people right there, and when the call's over, they call back, and it's a beautiful thing. It really is. And it's a gift that all of you make happen, you know. And I'd be lying to you if I told you that in season one, I made that happen a few times without help. But it's I've not had to you people have made this so real. God bless you, Lisa. I can't believe that. I can't tell you what, it puts a lump right here. It really does. Wow. Um, literally, literally like this. It works like this, whether it really, I mean, it's rolling the dice, right? It really is. But one of the two options is that literally saves a life. You know, sometimes it doesn't take the first time. It just doesn't. But uh, boy, we do a lot better with buprenorphine than we've done with anything else. God Almighty, buprenorphine does a really good job at what it's good for. And you know what, people, are you better off if you're not on it? You're better off if you're not on anything. You're better off if you don't take caffeine. You're better off if you don't take nicotine. You're better off if the only thing you're taking is oxygen, right? But that's not normally going to be the case. You know what? Anybody, I want to tell you, people never, ever, ever feel like you need to do anything except show up here. I love everybody that does that. Like what Lisa just did is mind bending. It's breathtaking. It really is. But I'll tell you what, showing up here, right? Showing up here and supporting the people. If you're having a great day, if you're having the best day ever, you can just be here for the person that isn't. And that is a gift that there's no way to put money to. And we love you, Lisa. I promise you. There's not much. There is not much. Hold on 1 second. What have I missed here? Calhoun, do me a favor, would you? Can you pull up Nicola E? I am of the belief that Nicola needs, or is it Nicole? I am really struggling with eyesight, Calhoun. You know what? Lisa's going to yell at me. Where are my glasses? Not sure where I put them. This is for a huge achievement. This is the official participation trophy of the lifeboat. You do know why this is the official participation trophy of the lifeboat? If you're thinking because I said so, you're wrong. Johnny also said so. Did you not? Did you not? He did. Hold on. You know what happened, right? What happened is my mixer, like people don't realize this, but usually it's playing video games. 52 days. Do you know how important this is? I'm just busting your chops, Calvin. You know how important this is? 52 happens to be my favorite number. Truthfully, this is my favorite number on earth. Congratulations on 52 days, huh? 52 days? People, that's epic, right? Epic. And do you know what's crazy? I remember when that was a super small number. My goodness, time flies. That was hundreds of videos ago. 52 days. Almost multiple months, right? That's the way I think about it too. That is the way I think about it too. Diary of a Ditch Witch says it's almost into the 2 months thing. Maybe it's because this is all I do these days, but I watch people change so much. When someone says, you know, man, 6 days I haven't done this stuff. Their tone, their attitude, their mindset, everything changes when you hear them go, I've been sober a week, right? When you go from days to weeks, that's a huge thing. And when you go to months, it is a massive thing. I am really looking forward to decades, right? I mean, I screwed off 3 decades. It would be really awesome if I could give 3 decades that I didn't screw off, right? I got to get 21 years and some change of sobriety before I can say that. And I don't intend to do anything to screw that up. I promise. I promise. By the way, I appreciate all of the beautiful things that people have written and said, and the concerns. And I want to tell you something. This isn't something that I can get a shot for, right? This is not something that that they're going to cure, but this is something that is just going to require that I do things differently. I'm not going to. Nothing is going to. I'm going to continue to do what I do. You're probably going to be a little bit more understanding on times where I stop and go, no idea what we were talking about or whatever. And I know people go, man, that happens to everybody, Tommy. I can assure you it didn't happen to me, right? Ever. And it's not a huge deal that it does, but it is something that requires a lot of writing. You know, journaling becomes an important thing, and that guess what? For every one of you too, right?
Hang on a second. Read that bottom one.
One moment. No. It's more, you know what, people, before we go any further, I just got a message from Johnny. We need some prayers for Mary Mullen. That would be Charlie Mullen's beautiful bride. Who they've been together forever. They're a great couple. She had to go to the emergency room, correct? And it's lung related, if I'm not mistaken, correct? COPD. So this is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. So she needs some prayers for COPD. Um, I can't think of anybody. Honest to God, I just can't think of anybody that when someone says lifeboat, I love you all, but that's the first name that will come to my mind and always will be. It's just the way it is, right? Doesn't Charlie is just the lifeboat, and we love him. So thoughts and prayers for Mary as well. We love the both of them. They really are the lifeboat. So Charlie, if you hear this, you love Mary, know that she's in our thoughts and prayers, and trust and believe that will be the bus as well. The Murphys, right? The Mullins / Murphys are absolutely Scovilles. They're family if ever there's been their family. Yeah, more cowbell for Charlie. I agree, right? Absolutely. Do you know what's great is I went from having no cowbell to now having multiple cowbells, one of which is absolutely a no joke ski cowbell, the kind that they used to use. Like you'd come around a corner and hear all the cowbells going. This is a ski cowbell, to be sure. Yeah. Is it your back?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Johnny Scoville's back is awful. It really is. Thoughts and prayers for my brother's back isn't such a bad idea either. He's just perpetually. I feel really bad for Johnny. His, since his surgeries, his back is just jacked, and God bless him. He takes no pain meds, but he has a really bad back. Kelly says, my dad struggled with COPD. The VA said it was probably caused by the asbestos in World War II era destroyer he spent 4 years on. Yeah. What's incredible, people, is that if you look back in history, do you know that they used to advertise what a miracle asbestos was? They would advertise that they were putting it in food. I'm not kidding you. I saw some incredible, horrifying ads about asbestos. And this is why when people say things like, what do you think about the idea of maybe using insulin as a way to lose weight? People seem to be having a lot of luck with that. Let me tell you something. If people seem to be having a lot of luck with something that's new, maybe wait 4 or 5 years and see what happens, right? So that you don't end up taking fen, or you don't end up taking any of the other things, right? Think of some of the awful stuff like thalidomide, right? Or some of the things that just we didn't know until it was too late. You know what works really well? That crap that grows out of the ground. Vegetables, fruits, things like that. Excellent idea to try the cowbells together. If when I'll do that on a night boat. You do realize that I do this very, very early in the morning. If I start bringing 2 cowbells at the same time, I don't think I'm going to make a lot of friends with my neighbors. Valerie says, Lisa, incredible. I want to be like Lisa Trimble. You know what? Lisa Trimble, I don't know that there's anybody that doesn't want to be like Lisa Trimble. It's I can't put into words how humbling what I do is. Honest to God. And I can truthfully say, people say all the time, what's the thing that what's the biggest surprise about YouTube, or about about being wildly successful on YouTube? You might get a kick out of that, right? But we probably don't judge wildly successful around here the way other YouTube channels do. but I'm here to tell you the lifeboat is wildly successful. It is wildly successful. It is doing exactly what I hoped it would do, and more, and so much more. Thank God for Mark Wages, for Heather. You guys remember, AKA Heather Joy, who I spoke to the other day. By the way, as I said, I spoke to Heather Joy. Heather is getting ducks in a row. That Heather has struggled with fibro, as well as a couple of other really tough medical conditions, but has been really a trooper through all of it. But she's getting ready to start putting up some content. Said she's ready to start working again, which I think is pretty exciting stuff. So when she's got that up and running, trust and believe I will have her on here so she can tell everybody about it, and we'll point everybody in that direction. If you don't know who Heather Joy is, go back and watch some of the old stuff. She used to sit in the captain's chair as well. You know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Bruce. Every once in a while that happens, It's I won't lie to you, it's rare. Uh-oh, the boss is here. Gotta run. Have a great day. Yeah, don't let for God's sakes, don't let the boss right? Don't be doing this at work unless you're absolutely sure you can get away with it. Um When will we get the comeback kings, Tommy and Corey collab? It's an excellent question. His people have been dragging their feet a little bit on the collab. He's awfully talented and in high demand. My understanding, if I'm not mistaken, is that he's opening for who?
Limp Bizkit.
Limp Bizkit. And if that biscuit wasn't limp before, yeah. Corey Feldman have a shot at it. Is Heather coming back? She's starting her own gig, is what she's doing. She has a direction she would like to take her show in. That is what she told me. I do not know the exact date, but she did say she's ready to start doing content again. And I told her it'd be really happy to fire that thing up if if he could. Tommy, if there was anyone who would impersonate the song "My Way," it has to be you and Aaron by "Living It." Keeping it real. Thanks, appreciate you. Appreciate you. Yeah, Heather's definitely coming back. I'm about a week ago, I think we were talking, and she said it's going to take a bit to get it up and running the way she wants, but she's going to let me know. And I told her I was going to leak it out to the boat. I didn't. I actually waited a while. That way, if I had told you exactly when she told me, I didn't want to put her behind the eight ball. But she's getting it put together, and when she's ready for her sort of official launch kind of thing, I'm sure that she'll come here to do it. Or at least I hope she would to come here to launch it. So, but I'll keep you abreast of that as I find out more. I promise. You know what, Moni? You knock that off. You and Charlie, the both of yous. Been very clear about Vegemite, and it certainly will not be consumed at 20,000 subscribers. I have heard about this. Have you been following the story about the 3 Chiefs fans who froze to death outside and may have OD'd on Fent and passed out? I have heard about this. I would say that there's a very good chance when all autopsies are done that we're going to find out that that was the case. It's not unheard of for people to drink themselves into the same position. It's a lot less likely that it happens to 3 people if it's booze.
It's sort of unheard of to lock friends out in the middle of the winter, though.
True.
That's a little odd.
Well, I mean, that whole situation is just awful, right?
Screams drugs.
It screams drugs. It absolutely screams drugs. It's awful. And see, question, Tommy, if you missed a question, do you go back and read comments from the streams afterwards?
Yeah.
No, I don't. And I'll tell you why. Just like to give you just a hint. Well, no, but just a hint of perspective. What that would end up being would be right in the ballpark of about 160 to 180,000 comments a week, right? Unless we were doing that during the Christmas holiday, in which case you could probably multiply that by 1.5, right? I would love to do that. If I did, I would not have time to do anything else. I wish I could. I really do. Now, there are definitely videos where something will happen, or there's a feeling I get or whatever, where I will go back and watch the entire thing and read the comments. I probably do that to 2 or 3 shows a week, but to do it to every one of them I wouldn't have time to put together other shows or do any of the other things. Here's a little more sort of behind the scenes or inside baseball or whatever you want to call it. Obviously, what I do on YouTube is different than what a lot of other people do on YouTube. And I don't mean because we're trying to help people get sober. I mean, hold on a sec. Sorry about that. Just to be honest, I have no idea what I was talking about. My brain just shut down, and unfortunately, I just I don't know where I was going. I don't know what I was talking about, but I apologize. Maybe I'm going to read something that'll bring it back. We don't intentionally skip anything. Does that have anything to do with what I was talking about? This is kind of a bummer, right? Here it is. Here's inside baseball, I guess. Tommy, do you purposely skip some comments or questions? I don't mean that in a negative way. Absolutely.
Every content creator does.
Absolutely. There are comments that I will skip. However, I don't. If somebody puts up a question and the question says something like, I need help with this, or this, or boy, I could really use some help with this, or this, I'm not going to skip a question like that. Sometimes someone will say something and I know that what I'm going to read is going to cause this problem or that problem. So that will probably get skipped. Sometimes there are people who will come here who don't have any desire whatsoever for anything. They're here because they're trying to affect something, and they do that with questions. Now, it looks mean because people are like, boy, why is Tommy treating that, that one guy named Jake so poorly? What you don't know in a lot of cases is that Jake has mailed naked pictures, to my kids, right? So sometimes you see things and it may not look like it makes sense, and it may just be because I've been doing this for a hot minute, and there's some there's usually some behind the baseball kind of stuff. But if it's something that is important, absolutely.
I ignore all questions in cap. Sorry.
Say what, Tommy? What the H?
I ignore every comment if it's in capital caps.
So maybe I don't understand what you're saying, Tommy. With the Tony, rather. What do you mean with the with the H. There are comments that people put that are awful. There are questions that people put that are there just to be cruel. There are things that people do there just to be assholes, and I absolutely will walk away from anybody that does that. The naked pictures sent to my kids are a drop in the bucket. Sorry, it's the truth. And I've gotten to the point where I have made this so that this is a part of what I do for a living, and I no longer allow it to bother me. I truthfully don't. What I've learned is that I don't go and look at anything that I know someone is doing to upset me. So they have to come here, right? They can't make things that bother me because I don't look at them. They send emails, I don't read them, right? Unless they're able to sneak them by the people that make sure I don't see crap like that. The only place then that people can get me is here. So they come here, and my wrenches are fantastic. But sometimes someone puts up a question that my wrenches won't necessarily understand because it's someone that's taken a shot at me personally. But I'll never skip a question that is legitimate for any reason. Now, I don't always see them. They fly by pretty damn quick. Our chat rate, I know that a lot of people bum out when we slow down the chat. But one of the reasons that we slow it down, believe it or not, like on a good show, we'll get about 4,500 comments, right? That's cooking. Question: what is the purpose to sentence someone to 4 months in federal prison? So confused. I'll be really honest with you. I'm confused. Technically, you can't sentence someone to 4 months. I know that that's going to sound nuts, right? But 4 months is a county jail sentence. In order for something to be a felony, it carries at least 1 year in prison, right? That's all felonies carry at least 1 year in prison. That doesn't mean that you can't get probation for it or something like that, right? Because you can get a felony and still get probation. However, by definition, felonies carry up to 1 year in prison. By definition, misdemeanors carry 365 days, right? Anything up to 1 year is you're going to do in jail. If you get a small sentence, if it's going to be longer than that, you do it in prison. Now, somebody could do this. This happens a lot, Debbie. Let's say I go into court and I fight. Just pick a crime. Let's say I rob a bank, and I go into court and I get a really good attorney and I fight this, and we file motions and we do discovery and we keep this in there as long as we possibly can. And I'm in court fighting this for 3 years, right? This happens sometimes. I literally spend 3 years fighting this before I get the sentence, and I lose the case, right? And my sentence is 40 months or 44 months. Well, I've already spent 36 months in, right? So now they get ready to ship me out, and then what? I'm going to end up, I get sent to prison and I only got to pull 4 months. It's not necessarily that they got a 4-month sentence. They're only in there for 4 months because they did their first whatever in county jail and some of it in transport. But to have a judge say, I'm sentencing you to 4 months in federal prison, that's bizarre. I've never heard anything like that. Bank robber, you like that I went with bank robber? Yeah, you go with what you know. Izzy is safe and sound at home. In her slippers, under her own roof. Izzy, I am so happy. I hate the idea that people are out driving around and stuff that's scary. Truthfully, I do. Any worry of any bad inclement weather driving today here in the lovely state of Arizona? Tommy, one of my friends is a state rep. Been trying to talk to him about why we need prison reform. I sound spastic when I do. What would you say? Great question, Ben. Thank you. Such a great question. What I would say is this. I would say recently, I began to listen to some people who have been in prison, and I've started to hear the stories of what goes on inside. And I'm a little surprised at how we treat our inmates. Where do you stand on prison reform? And hear what they say. Now, more than likely, you get platitudes, right? You get BS sound bites. Yes, we know that there needs to be a lot done because we spend far too much time concentrating on incarceration and not enough time on rehabilitation. Doesn't matter what we do, we can arrest all the people in the world, but if we don't do something with them when they're on the inside, well, then we're just going to be arresting them again. So it makes far more sense for us to invest that money where it's going to do its best use, right? Which is in programs for the prisons. And then we all go, yeah, that's a hell of an idea. Then we give them the money. I don't know where it goes, right? But I promise you, it's not going to the prisons. Those programs don't exist. Now, I got a friend. She's doing everything she can to make the California prison system better. She emails me all the time to tell me all of the great strides that they are making in the California system. I email her back all the time and say, I think that's awesome. I also say, I would like to tour these facilities. You said that's a possibility. I want to go in. To be honest, I'm not sure if you're reading the responses that I send back because I'm not getting any response back on that one. I want to go in. You say these things are changed. I want to go in and talk to a couple of the fellas, right? Bring me on a tour. I want to talk to the convicts. With all due respect, it's really easy to hear this at the top, right? I remember them saying they're coming in on Friday. Anything bad happens, you guys make us look bad when they're in here, and I will make your lives hell, right? You go to lunch, and they have little cards up on the glass that says, the burger we're serving you today has 450 calories. If you would like the salt-free alternative or the heart-healthy menu, there's none of this. This doesn't happen until they show up. You know, it's a game. I want to go on the inside and see it. So if you're that person, get me in there. I want to talk to the fellas. With all due respect, I'm not going to believe what I hear from the people at the top. Why would I? They told me I was going to the special management unit, Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, where a counselor was going to sit me down with people of the opposite race. Blacks and whites would sit in one room and learn how to get along with one another. I thought that's a hell of an idea. They said that Bloods and Crips would sit in the same room and learn how to get along. I didn't think that was such a great idea, but it sounds cool. Norteños and Sureños, right? Pick any of them. We're going to bring everybody together. We're going to be doing 4 hours of class time a day. I read the whole report. My wife at the time, a lawyer, mailed it to me. And I thought, this ain't going to be so bad. Everybody says it's a lockdown unit. I'm doing 4 hours a day of classes. How much lockdown can there be? I got news for you people. I never left myself for any reason. I never went to a class. Not one of them. Not one. So why is there a big report saying that all those things happen? I bet you all can answer that, can't you? Because that big report justifies a fat-ass paycheck, a huge amount of money sent off to people that aren't going to do anything but waste it. What you can say to them is this, Ben, this is another option. Say, I know an articulate cat that's been to prison that would love to talk to you about prison reform. If you'd be willing to talk to him, he'd like to tell you what really goes on inside a federal prison. This is not a guy that's going to yell F-bombs or anything else. In fact, if he calms down, you might not know this guy isn't an attorney. He's articulate and can probably tell you more about what's really happening than just about anybody else. And he's a close friend of mine. If you'd be willing to talk to this guy, he got out of prison and turned his life around. He's a homeowner. He pays his taxes and he's doing what he can to try to help other people remain sober. Would you be willing to talk to him? You hear that? Not just to you, anybody. You got a juice card with anybody in politics, you can say, my friend Tommy, and then go with it. And if you get a meeting with me and somebody, I'll get to that meeting. This isn't a show. Not for me, it's not. Right? This is what I want to do before I die. I want to make a dent in this thing. Right? The clock's ticking. You got a way to get me in anywhere. You gotta, and I don't mean to cut ribbons to get famous, but if I can talk to a politician, if you can do something like that, if you can, you can get me on a show where a bunch of people are going to see me, you got any juice card whatsoever with anybody, feel free to use it. Tell them Tommy Scoville is your friend. and open that door, and I'll go running through it with you, Ben. For real. If they don't want to go that route, I will actually put together something. I'll talk into one of those devices and I'll put together a damn good script for you that you can talk to them on, because that's, if you got that access, you should use it. Everybody should. And you know what? Pardon me, but that's my favorite form of protest. Right? Personally. If I had the guts, it wouldn't be my favorite way of protest, right? Yeah, Joe Rogan, from your lips to God's ears. I'd love to do Rogan. Yeah, I would love, right? That's the top of the food chain. I would love to do Rogan. If I had the guts, I would have been standing out there with Aaron. I don't have the guts. I can't do it. I can't do it. And you know, when after the interview yesterday with Reese, it left me feeling weird. You know, if anybody came away with the walk away that somehow I dislike Aaron, or I think Aaron's screwing up, I think Aaron getting arrested there is probably the best thing that ever happened in terms of hurting the cult of Scientology. And I don't have any problem with what he's doing, and I don't know where that came from. What I said was, I didn't like the cops' names being yelled out. It makes me uncomfortable as hell. But he didn't do that. That wasn't him. You know? So hopefully it doesn't get back to him, that, you know, because that's just crazy. But that's how it goes. It's telephone, right? You say something and it gets repeated. I used to think the more miserable we can make prison, the better. Yeah, I used to think the same thing. I used to think the more miserable we can make prison, the better. I started listening to you, and it all became very real. These are real people. There have to be ways to extend hope to the hopeless. Just as important, right? Look at it. Just how about pure pragmatism? 80% of them are getting back out. 80% are going to get back out. They're going to be in your grocery stores. They're going to be walking on the same streets as you. You want to send them off and torture them for 8 years, and then bring them back and see how they do? Why do you think the recidivism rate is high? Because they turn them into better criminals, right? You take people that never really were criminals and introduce them to people who are super criminals, and they learn a lot. You know, Valerie, a lot of it, you know what? Here's what it is. It's not that people don't pay attention, right? It's not really, I don't know. I think what happens is that people don't watch, or they watch this much. Look, if you think, you know, Aaron and I are friends. If you think Aaron watches every lifeboat, Aaron has never watched one lifeboat. I'm not saying that as bummed out. This dude's got a lot going on in his life. You know what I mean? He knows what the lifeboat does, but he doesn't need the lifeboat necessarily in the way that people need the lifeboats. So what he gets is reports of people, right? He gets reports from people. And, you know, that's everybody. You know, everybody gets a report that somebody said this or somebody said that. And you know what? I've never said a bad word about that dude ever. And if you can find somewhere where I said that, let me know. I'm his biggest supporter, people, and I always will be. I think he's doing one hell of a job in his fight, and I'm never going to do anything but support that. Solid dude. Chili Mancer, where have you been, my friend? Where have you been? You don't have the privilege of clean record, Tommy. I don't think it's a matter of testicles. Yeah, it may not be testicular. I don't know. It might be a record thing. I don't know. It's I'm still pretty impressed with you know, with what Aaron has done in this, you know. But yeah. Don't forget to pick up no, I'm gonna go get the pimp hat. I promise. There's a pimp hat out there. I'm going today, I promise. Yeah, Valerie, I hope I can't be more clear than that. You know what I mean? I love the guy. He's my guy. I understand this, and this is, and you're right. Society isn't taught to think of anything but prison as punishment. When it's seen as an opportunity, lives are changed and saved. you know what? The idea is this: lock them up and throw away the key, right? We've been saying that a really long time, and I'm not mad at anybody that says that. I understand the sentiment in a very big way. I understand the sentiment, right? I really do. The trouble becomes, though, they would try to figure out a way to teach people a skill or something while they're in there. The ironic thing, and you've heard it so many times, you're sick of hearing it, but the way we decide how many prison beds to build is we check illiteracy rates of boys and girls in the 4th grade. And then we use that as a way to extrapolate how many prison beds we're going to have to make. So what does that tell you? Okay. Education has an exact correlation between education and incarceration. So when people do get incarcerated, don't teach them anything. Right? Makes a lot of sense. We know what got them there is the fact that they weren't excellent at reading and they didn't have a solid base for education. So when we do get them in there, don't teach them anything. Good thinking. You know what? Look, a guy that didn't go to college or high school and doesn't help him get his GED. The guy says, you know what? I didn't learn to read. I can't do any of those things. Don't throw him away. Go, okay, we can't teach you. Okay, good. Go pump iron and sell dope. How about, you know what? Think we can teach you to weld? What can we teach you that's a skill that you can go out with? Because I'll tell you something. You know what welders make? Hey, welders make incredible money. And people in prison can get jobs as welders, right? You can get out of prison and work as a welder. There's a lot of jobs that you can't do that with. There's a lot of jobs that once you're a convict, you're never going to be able to work again, right? Fortunately, YouTube creator is not one of them. Come here, squirrel. Come here, kitty. Come here. Oh, you got to say hi to your adoring. Look at you. She's getting to be not a little kitty anymore. Sadly, Squirrel is getting to be a little bit beefier. It's all the TREATSs that you guys buy her. She is a very, very, very spoiled kitty. Chili Mancer, it was great to see you in here, my brother. He's one of my favorite people. He really is. Mr. Wolf, I agree 100%. I agree 100%. You guys can judge me in any way you wish for that, but I agree with that 100%. And you know what? I've seen bad things happen to them, and it never, ever made me uncomfortable. Isn't that awful? I'm just telling you the truth. I hated prison fights. I wasn't one of those dudes that loved watching two guys go at it. Usually people run to the door to watch it and get all excited about it like it's a sporting event. You know what? I never got into any of that. But if the dude they were stomping out was in there for hurting a kid, never ever had a problem with that, honestly. Yeah, go ahead and knock it out. Mara, prison absolutely saved my life. Prison saved my life. There's no question. But I really feel like it's important that I say that a black man saved my life in prison. And that's important because they didn't even want us near each other, right? The Bureau of Prisons didn't want us even talking. That's how they want it. But the prison didn't have a hand in making me into a better person. A black guy that society is determined isn't worth letting out saved my life. Gave me the skills I needed to save my own life. Taught me to believe. And just about everything you hear here is in some way or another either from him or a tribute to him. I love the guy, and I'm going to get him out. And to all of you that just have a field day with your weird, you guys want to turn this into an amorous thing that I'm in love with the guy in that way. You know what? If that makes you happy, man, keep sending the emails. I love the guy. I don't really care what any of you think. He doesn't have the equipment for that kind of love. It's not how I get down. But I love the guy, and you trying to insult me in that way, you maybe pick something else. That's missing the mark. I'm not really freaked out or offended by that anyway. as I told you guys yesterday, I was going to be doing a show on exactly what we can do as a team to try to help get Q out. I am going to be doing that. That I don't know if I'll get to it today. I am waiting right now for a call or an email back from the paralegal that has organizing this to make sure that what I say, we can screw this up badly. So we have to do what we do correctly, right? If we end up sending 7,000 letters to a place, and then what we don't want to do is get anybody mad at him. We want to make sure that everything we do just benefits him, not the other way around. Hold on. That's a great, I love that, Kelly Gerling. I love that, because you know what? Education comes in so many different forms and in so many different ways, you know. You know what, Lisa, what's wrong with people? You know who else they had a field day with? They have a real good time with me and Ellen Valentine. They've even made a bunch of shorts about it. They made a short that said Tommy Scoville comes out of the closet, and it had a picture of a cat, of like a guy dressed like a captain kissing a dude. The dude, it wasn't me, and the dude wasn't Alan, but Alan and I we were rolling around laughing at that one. Like, honestly, if they were trying to bum us out with that one, we did get a really good laugh out of. But here's, I'll save you all time. Do you understand that in order to really bum somebody out with the gay stuff, the person has to be homophobic, right? The person has to really be like freaked out by all of that stuff, right? And I don't know. I've always thought that homophobes deep down might be a little worried that they may not be 100% sure who they are. You know what I mean? That's always been my theory on the people who really just hate gay people. I think it's because deep down, maybe a guy just maybe lights him up a little. You know what I mean? maybe just lights him up a little. Right? But if you're not solid enough in your sexuality to be able to say something like, that Brad Pitt's a handsome dude. That's a good looking guy. If that's too much for you, then I feel bad for you. Or even easier, boy, that damn Tommy Scoville's a handsome bastard, isn't he? Eh? No, I'm kidding. But my kid isn't. My kid is unbelievably handsome. Have you seen my Viking son? Calhounus, where are you at? You know what?
I'm here.
There he is. How are you? That's
Doing all
how
right.
many sweatshirts do you have?
How many what?
Tie-dye sweatshirts do you have?
Oh, you shouldn't have asked that. I only have one, and this is it, and I wear it a lot.
No. Well, then you have a different tie-dye shirt because you were wearing something other than that yesterday or the day before. And your string
Tie-dye.
always be the same length. We've talked about this, right? There you go. That's better. Look what I got.
I don't think I have other tie-dye stuff. Maybe I do.
Do you see what I have? I have a
You have a
kitty.
cat? You
I
have a
do.
kitty?
I have a beautiful kitty.
Oh, listen to that.
I think she might be happy.
I think she likes it.
Aw. Yeah, she's a happy kitty. But she would also like to eat all the equipment and fall asleep on the laptop. So you kind of got to be careful with Squirrel. If it has a plug on it, she thinks it's for eating.
Can I ask a favor of the crew? Will y'all keep your fingers crossed that I can sell my car in the next few days so that I can leave and move to Arizona in the next few days? Just put the thought out there that my car sells itself.
Yes. You're coming here one way or another. Don't let them think that that's contingent.
Well, yeah, and I am coming 100%, and the car really should sell itself. It's a steal of a price. It's in great condition, and I have all kinds of. My phone is blowing up with interest. So, really, I'm just hedging my bets. I think it's going to be fine, but it's like the last thing that I need to do, and I'm ready to come to Arizona. So, yeah, keep your fingers crossed for a speedy sale.
Well, we are going to do that. I'm making you want another cat. Well, you should definitely want another cat. Cats are
Oh,
superior to people in all ways. Except that I
agree
have
to
to clean up
disagree.
her kitty litter. It would be really nice if she would just do that herself. But
Yeah, I
she's
feel
a
like she
very,
can't be superior since she needs you to clean up her poop.
and I do actually have to feed her too. So, but she's certainly more fun to be around. You know what I mean? She very, very, very infrequently makes me angry. It happens, but it's infrequently. And even when
Yeah,
it
if
is,
you're
it's the giggling angry. You know what I mean? Like you're mad, but you're still kind of like that. Thanks, squirrel. Goodness
if your
gracious.
solution to excrement is to kick dirt on it, I don't know how intelligent you are.
Listen. Their way of kicking dirt on excrement is because of how we set them up, right? Outside they do things a little differently, but we don't really give them any other option in here, right?
I mean, I
You
guess
may
if I
not know
lived
this.
outside, I'd just leave it there too.
Well, no, but you've never seen a cat in nature actually doing their business. In nature, they go to a small place that you've not seen where there are showers, toilets, urinals for the boy kitties. It's all
TVs.
set up out there. But when we bring them in, they got to go shh, kill game like that doesn't happen. And then that's the whole kitty litter thing started like that.
There's a joke on Rick and Morty where he makes a helmet that lets you talk to or understand animals, and the
Uh-huh.
squirrels are actually a diabolical race trying to take over and control the world. Thought that was a pretty good joke.
Rick and Morty is a very, very funny program. Nikolai says, "Best of luck, Calhoun. Thank you for all your hard work." Oh, he has yet begun to work hard. Calhoun has no idea what's in store for him. I will be working Calhoun like a rented mule. Yes, there are kitty toilets, Lady Hummingbird. There are also cats in there doing things like pedicures, manicures. You walk in and there's a cat going like this and giving another cat a massage using all four of its.
They sing in the showers,
Yes,
do
of
little
course,
dance
with
numbers.
running water. Of course, with running water. I'm telling you, they're far more advanced than you think we are. They are. I'm telling you. If you ever come across one of these facilities, you're going to know because you're going to be like, that is a ridiculously small toilet. And then you're going to start to realize that other things really don't make sense. You know what I mean? Like there's a pool in there, but it's this deep. Because kitties love getting their feet in water, but they don't like getting the rest of them in water. See, the mental picture makes you happy. That's a beautiful thing. I am here to make you happy. That is my job, I think. Can I do a huge shout out before we leave? Thank you so much, Ben. I appreciate you. Mischief Managed, thank you so much. And Lisa
Lisa
Trimble.
Trimble, you're an angel. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm speechless. I really am. I am speechless. But thank you so much, and God bless. And people, please check and make sure you are still subscribed, and then hit the bell for notification because we're going to be going live, and we want to make sure that you are there. And this is the best cat in America. Look, one Blackfoot and one Brownfoot.
She's doing karate. Look at that.
She is the cutest kitty. She has one brown foot and one black foot. She is just an absolute. Come on up. You want me back up here? Come on, quick. Come on. Okay. See, she's not going to do it because she wants to make me look like an idiot. Cats will. It's that. Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtime gal. Michigan J. Frog. The one that dances until they put the spotlight on, and then he does that ribbit number. Ribbit. Yeah, that's my cat. All right, people. I will see you on the next one. Spanx Calhoun, I love you.
Love you, Dad.
Thank you
Later,
for all of
crew.
your hard work.
See you in a bit.
Yep. See you on the next one. Bye-bye. Oh, and thoughts and prayers for Mary Mullins, please. Leave with that. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. And the stream.